Biggest challenges that the Kenya coast has had is the accessibility of, or rather the accessibility of flights into the country, into the Kenya coast. This has been one of the biggest challenges. You know, they say accessibility is key. If you look at Zanzibar, whether we look at Egypt, whether we look at Mauritius, all these destinations are thriving with tourism, all right? And what is it that makes them unique or special over us? Nothing. If I told Kenya Coast has a much more premium product, has a much more premium experience, but one of the biggest challenges that we have really faced is the accessibility of direct flights. Okay, that is one of the biggest things. And now that we see that the government has started seeing that as an opportunity, and now they're trying to invest, and now they're trying to allow, in fact, we have just seen that the Turkish Airlines is now starting from 28th October. I know there's quite a bit of a code sharing agreement that is coming in between Kenya Airways and Qatar Airline. All right, we can see that we have Ethiopian Air that is there. So with all these new introductions, then there's Fly Dubai. With all these new introductions that are coming in, new airlines that are coming in, is only going to grow. Apart from that, we have had more and more charter flights coming into Kenya coast. These are all great positive signs of how the growth is coming in. And we are truly grateful to the government. And we encourage and we request that we continue with this momentum. If at all, we should be able to come up with a framework as to how we can incentivize more airlines to land into the Kenyan coast. And I can, as tourism players, we are very sure that the more airlines that start coming into the Kenya coast, all right, the more people will be diverted into the Kenya coast, the more people will choose, because of the fact that we're offering various experiences. It's not just the beach, it's the beach and the bush. Those are the experiences that we're offering. And now that this direct connectivity is starting in, all right, then comes in the second thing, which is the infrastructure. And we can see that there's huge infrastructure investments happening. Right now, if you look at it, there's infrastructure happening between on the Mombasa-Malindi highway. Okay, that's a great sign. The Dongokundu bypass that has really eased up Diani and South Coast. All right, and if you look at the Changamwe interchange, that has also been created. So we can see that there's amazing commitment from the government of growing tourism within Kenya coast. And if at all, tourism is what is really going to grow the economic development, the community uprising of the Kenyan coast. So the major challenge has been the connectivity, which is now being addressed, but there's a lot more room for improvement. There's a lot more of connectivity we can establish, and with that, we're not only going to grow the leisure tourism, we are going to grow also the MICE tourism, which is becoming another phenomenal event. Just recent statistics had indicated that Kenya, the whole of Africa only hosts 3%, and Kenya is, I think, third or fourth in ranking when it comes to MICE. So these are all the various opportunities that are available, but the direct connectivity is what really helps us getting there.
I want to encourage the investors in all these hotels. We also want to encourage the investors in those empty plots so that they are able to come together. We map them with the prospective investors. Once you do that, in terms of the standards uptake, we are going to make sure that the standards are high. And that's we are going to do that through the accreditation, the results that you have made. And the accreditation was in preparation to the national classification exercise, which is the rating of all hotels, which is to start very soon. So we are looking forward to start all the facilities, which will improve the cost as a premier destination. We are focused to make sure that standards have improved, and these standards actually go hand in hand with improving destination. We are looking forward to attracting international brands, but that does not mean that even the local brands, they are going to be pushed aside. No. We want to make sure that international brands match hand in hand with the local brands to improve this destination called coast destination.
We are awake as a board to the fact that competition is growing. What used to be our cake yesterday becomes somebody's lunch tomorrow, and we do not want to do that. So because government is an enabler, we invited the participants within the coastal tourism industry to see how we can be able to bring up the investments along this destination. When you look at the Kenyan coast, on the other hand, you find that a lot of our investors are local, but we also want to invite those other big brands. Why? Because their marketing arm is much wider, because their investments are much bigger, and because they'll be able to market Kenya across their network.
We will also expand incentives for airlines operating new direct routes. And I'm looking at any other incentives or actions that will support what we are starting today. We will not only rejuvenate the coast of tourism, but also secure a brighter and more competitive future for Kenya's tourism.